Yo, we live. What's good, man? This is the Four Quarters Podcast. D Hump, and I got my guy here.
Smidge.
Yes, sir, man. So, man, quite a few things to talk about today, man. Obviously, we went to the Moeller game, which I would probably argue was the biggest game of the season that we were a part of. I predicted from the start, in my opinion, that Elder was going to win, and I only based that off of how Moeller struggled a little bit with St. X. Even though they beat St. X, and they pretty much beat them somewhere around the same score that they beat, or that Elder beat them, but just something about, St. X and how they looked versus Elder, it just gave me a vibe. I was like, I don't know if Mo is going to bring, what they necessarily need to bring to beat a team like Elder. Elder is hot, they're hungry, and it just seems like everything is clicking at once for them.
Yeah, Elder looked good this year. I mean, Moeller always looked good, but just something about Elder from top to bottom, they just seem like they just one of the best teams in the state. I kind of feel like they probably definitely the best team. And what is this? What would that be? Southwest District?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GCL
Probably
South.
at least top two Southwest. I don't really think I've seen nobody that could compete with them. I mean, they controlled the game versus Moeller Friday, first quarter to the fourth.
For
Quarterback play, running back play, receiver in the trenches. Like they just was
all levels.
the better team, man. The better team.
All levels. Now, you brought up the quarterback play. I just kind of wanted your opinion on it. You know what I mean? You've been seeing different quarterbacks all across the state. You've watched Ponatowski. You got to see E-Step from Elder. Based on what you've seen this year, and just out of the quarterbacks in general, I guess who has impressed you the most from the quarterback spot this year so far?
Elder's quarterback. I want to go with Elder's quarterback. What's his name?
E-Step.
E-Step. Yeah, E-Step is he just looked good, man. I mean, I can't take nothing away from Moeller's quarterback because, of course, I mean, like I said, he's Mr. Football and Baseball last year.
For sure.
But he was running for his life Friday. Just running for his life. He had a few plays to where he looked like, he was that guy. But for the most part, he was just running. Just running.
It was on him.
E-Step, they're kind of around the same as far as the season throwing stats. But E-Step leads GCL in running. I mean, in rushing. A little bit under 500. I think he's at 490. And he was just, whenever things got tough, he was taking off. And, I mean, he was 10, 15, big plays. I mean, they couldn't stop him either way, in the air or on the ground. So, he's good.
I agree. Yeah, and I got to agree with you on that. You know what I mean? And again, just kind of how you were saying, it's like you can't take anything from Ponatowski. You're talking about Gatorade Play of the Year, multi-sport guy. When you look at the numbers, he is leading the GCL South in passing, not by much, but he is leading, and he's also leading with 18 touchdowns and 1 interception versus E-Step's 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now, I want to make a kind of a distinction between the two, because even though Ponatowski is that guy and he's got more touchdowns, but when they matched up, even though I know it's a team sport, if you didn't know Ponatowski and you didn't know E-Step, you probably would leave that game saying Elder had the better quarterback. If you didn't know what you knew about Ponatowski, would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned the run game. The fact that this guy, what I like about the guy is he just seems tough. And, playing against Moeller, who's got a great defense, playing against St. X really their problem is the offense, because that defense is ridiculous.
Yeah, they had a
And
lot of studs defense on the defense, but
studs.
offense just couldn't get rolling. Saint X.
Offense can't get rolling. And when you watch him against Saint X, another great defense, Moeller, great defense. When he's under duress, he just seems like it's just natural. And it's like not only does he have poise, but it's like when he's under duress, he's still looking to make a play. He ain't quick to run. He don't run too quick. He don't, he's just like just very poised in that pocket, man. So I've just been really impressed with him in general. I'm gonna still kind of lead towards Matt being the best quarterback possibly in the state. But this E-Step kid is making a serious nod. And I feel like last year you and I weren't talking about this kid. You know what I mean? It's like he just hit the scene and now all of a sudden he's cooking. And like you said, he's second in GCL in passing yards. He's number one in rushing, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? For a quarterback like that. So he's just absolutely cooking, man.
And he a junior too.
Oh my God, he's only a junior.
Yeah, he a junior.
So he and Ponatowski are the same age. Because I think Ponatowski also
Ponatowski's a senior, I want to say, I think. Ain't he?
I think he's young boy. He is. Oh, no, you're right. He is a senior. Good catch. He is a senior. You know, I thought Ponatowski was younger than that, man. Damn. So he's actually about to leave and he's going to Kentucky. Okay, I got you. So I gotta ask you this at this point. We watched that game. We haven't seen Olentangy Orange. We have not seen St. Ed's, right? I ask you this every time we talk. You know, who is your? Let's not go into a prediction right now. Who do you think is the best team in Ohio right now in Division I football?
I will have to put Elder up there, and probably St. Ed's.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Yeah,
would be my top two at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Elder and St. Ed.
Yeah. And
top two teams in the state. Like you said, I don't really know a lot about Columbus. I want to say I think Pick North might be tough.
You got North, you got Olentangy Orange.
One of those Olentangy team is tough. And again, like I said, last year the Central Ohio football scene, it kind of get overshadowed a lot.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't have the reason why, but
I mean, Cleveland, and Cincinnati.
About them because, like last year, Liberty just came about it, and I was shocked that they even won it because I mean, we had Moeller. We didn't think nobody.
To your point, that you just made, you said they're overshadowed, right? So all you're hearing about is Cleveland because for the last decade, they've been dominating, and then in between some of those championships, you got Cincinnati. And just like you said, they got overshadowed.
One year, I'm not sure what year, but Pick Central state title in there.
They scraped. I think Central Ohio in the last decade may have pulled off two wins as far as the state compared to Cleveland and Cincinnati. I think they're dominating right now. But to your point, how Liberty came out of nowhere, you just cannot sleep on anybody in that Columbus Central area. So I agree with you. I got my number one, but I don't even know who's number one at this point. I would say number 1A, number 1B is your Elder and your St. Edwards until somebody matches up to show me who's really the best. A couple other things that I think that stood out at that game, and we've been watching Elder for a little minute. Number 4 has impressed you, I think, right? That's the wide receiver guy. Mm-hmm. He's been pretty impressive this year. What has impressed you about his game? What do you like about his game so far?
He just is always open. Like I don't know if it's his routes, if he just got the knowledge, but he's just always open. There were times to where they needed a big play or they needed certain yards, and dude was always open. He kind of remind me of like Edelman, Wes Welker, like not a big guy, but speedy. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that impressed me about Elder. They have speed everywhere.
For sure.
And I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's like they got some speedsters out there. Like they got a lot of speed.
They do, man. And
I think
to
that
your
caused
point,
Moeller a lot of trouble.
Because he's
tough. He's tough.
You're creating daylight. like you said, they're always open. And then I think what else impressed me about number 4, we'll go ahead and say his name, Jackson Ruth is number 4's name. But another thing that impressed me about Ruth is not only is he always open, but once he catches the ball, he's very impressive off the cut. Just like you mentioned, the Edelman, his yak game, he's a game breaker. If he gets the ball in his hands, he can really hurt you. And then on top of that, they got the running back, and he's kind of a running back kind of hybrid, Tommy Becker. I think he's second in the league in rushing, and number 21, if you remember, another stud. You know, it seems like when he touches the rock, they make plays. So you got a good quarterback, you got stud athletes, you got a ridiculous defense. Especially with what's my man, Derek Udan, number 5. He's going to Virginia. Mm-hmm. He seems to be everywhere. He's second in sacks. I think he's second in tackles. And he's really an outside linebacker. I see him going to the next level and being a safety. He's not very big, but he is just a high school football.
They even have him lined up like
definitely.
He's line too. Sometimes they kind of got him everywhere, like you said. Mm-hmm. He just been everywhere. But another receiver for Elder Walpole, he's third in receiving. Don't know his number, but they got 2 receivers that's top 3 in the GCL. So the offense is just as loaded as the defensive side. So
no, he's cooking.
Kind of hitting on all cylinders to where I feel like the only way they'll lose is if they beat themselves, or if they just run into somebody that's just better than them. But I don't really see nobody just being flat out better than them.
For sure. Well, I think too, man. Let's another thing that we didn't throw out is that, kind of taking it back to Moeller a little bit. Moeller's got this tight end who's going. Where has he committed to? The big guy from Moeller, North Carolina. This guy is 6'5". You know, Cooper McCutcheon. He caught 4 balls for 20 yards. I mean, that tells you a lot about Elder's defense for this guy to just absolutely struggle. Because I remember at one point you were like, "Where is he? Is he on?" You know what I mean? You were like, "Where's he at?" You couldn't see him. No, granted, we probably had the worst seats in the house. That was probably the most crowded game I've ever been to. You know what I mean? I think the record was 10,000 plus people at that game, and we didn't even have a seat, so we didn't have the greatest.
Definitely could tell there was 10,000 people in there.
It looked like a MAC game, like a sold out Kent State or a sold out Toledo or OU. That's what it reminded me of at a high school game. Let's transition a little bit. Let's maybe look into the GWOC for a hot second, because the GWOC has been heating up. I know we've been a little hard on the GWOC this year, just because they've been so down and we're not used to it, right? All of a sudden, Springfield is on a 4-game winning streak, and you've seen Springfield play, but you saw Springfield play very early. You know, when you read about what's happening with Springfield and the GWOC and how they just seem to gel. And you and I, you know, we've seen this so many times where they start off slow, and once them guys get to clicking, it's like they can compete with anybody in the state. And you've also watched Wayne, I believe, on a couple of occasions, and you've been very impressed with Wayne. For Wayne to get beat by Springfield the way they did, can you recall that score? What was that, like
45 to 14? And I want to say the last touchdown they got was like fourth quarter. A trash touchdown.
Trash bucket.
It didn't. I mean, at that point, it didn't matter.
Right. So for you that have watched both of these teams play, you watched Springfield play, I want to say a couple powerhouses. I want to say you saw them.
They played Walsh Jesuit when I watched them play. I want to say it might have been the second, third game of the year.
Right. And then you saw Wayne. Who'd you see Wayne play?
Wayne played Springboro, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they played Springboro.
So knowing that Springfield just did to Wayne what they did, because you were hot on Wayne. It wasn't like you were saying that Wayne was just the best team that you've ever seen, but you were basically saying that as far as everybody that we've seen in the GWOC this year, you were saying Wayne was it. So for Wayne to go and I think it was at Wayne's house for
Yeah.
Springfield to go to Wayne and get beat 45-14 with all the talent, the big names that Wayne has, the best player in the state, Jameer Everett Brown. I guess, how do you feel about that, man? Does that shock you? What does that say about Springfield, man? Just because you've seen both of those teams, man, what are your thoughts on that victory from Springfield?
Well, one, it was a big win for Springfield just because of how they started. Um, I know, like you said, when I first seen them play against Walsh Jesuit, I left early. I don't know if it was a shutout. They got beat pretty bad.
Bad,
Um,
bro.
Talking to a lot of people at the game, they said their problem at that point was the line. They said that the line kind of wasn't giving Wallace a lot of time to do what he needed to do back there. They kind of started getting it rolling. I kind of we both said that whoever was to win this game probably would be the best team in GWOC.
For sure.
Granted, Wayne took a few beatings from some powerhouses, but I still had their offenses it was just explosive. Um, like you said, they got the number one player in Ohio as the receiver. They got a sophomore quarterback, Kai Graham, who should have a bright future. They got another receiver,
Mm-hmm.
Orion, who leads the GWOC in receiving. Um, they got a big back, Zay Thompson.
I think
But
he's second in the GWOC in rushing, or he's top 3.
yeah, no, he's fourth. He's
Okay.
fourth in GWOC. But I just thought Wayne was, as far as offensively. Now, defensively, I can't say I was really high on him, but
Nah.
when you put a lot of points up, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to stop. Now, just
Right.
from seeing highlights and talking to a few people from that went to the game, it was basically kind of the game plan was to stop one and the pressure the young quarterback, and that seems like that's what Springfield did all night. I seen big plays from Royce Rogers. I seen big plays from Jameer Daniels.
He got a pick in the red zone, I believe.
Yep, he had a pick. Jack Cherry had a
Mm-hmm.
fumble
Fumble
recovery.
recovery. Mm-hmm.
I want to say I think Sherrod had a punt return.
Sherrod had a 93-yard kickoff return, and
Off.
it was the first play of the game on the kickoff, and 93 yards, man. And it sounds like they've been waiting for him to break out because they know what he can do.
Yeah, he's actually third in the GWOC and receiving.
Right.
Receiving yards. Long, I want to say, I think Long, DeAndre Long,
Yep.
back. He had a big game. I think he had either one or two touchdowns. Braylon Keys, I think that's his name.
Yep. That's another one. Yeah.
He's a receiver for Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I just feel like Springfield they done caught their wave and they done turned back into being dangerous. People are probably gonna look at me crazy, but I was highly disappointed in Wayne. Not saying that I felt like they were gonna win the game, but I felt like it'd have been a better game than what I seen. I think it was 21-7 at halftime, and I just was like, man, what's going on? But
Right.
you got to tip your hat off to Wallace, the OC at Springfield, and of
Mm-hmm.
course Smoot, the DC at Springfield. I mean,
For sure.
if anything, Springfield's defense always gonna find a way, and you gotta
Always.
give Smoot
Yeah.
his props for that. He always got them boys going. He always
That's
got
the
them.
GOAT.
And,
Yeah, Smooth is the GOAT, man.
but yeah, Wallace is second in GWOC in passing,
Mm-hmm.
right underneath Kai Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Long is third in rushing, and Zay's behind him for Wayne. You got Samorion second in receiving in GWOC. You got Sherrod third, and then you got Brown fourth. Royce Rogers is second in sacks in GWOC.
And he's a D tackle, by the way. You know what I mean? He's in the middle. getting double, tripled every single time. So he's wreaking havoc, and that's a Buffalo commit too, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
Buffalo. You got Sean Heisel for Wayne. Three interceptions on
Mm-hmm.
the year. He's first. Well, tied to be first, and then you got
Yep.
Charles Cunningham and Jameer
Yep.
Daniels second.
Tied.
They
Yeah.
tied
Yeah.
third with two interceptions apiece. So just them two teams, just with all the talent they got
Tons of talent, man.
from top to bottom, and it was just like Springfield shouldn't have been on. I mean, they look like Wayne shouldn't even have been on the same field as Springfield, and
Right. Right.
that's probably going to give Springfield the boost that it needed
Ooh.
finish this year. And I'm anxious to see what Wayne does the rest of the year because losses like that could either make a team or break a team. So
For
just
sure. That's a
waiting
great
to
point.
see how they bounce back from that. But
Yeah.
yeah, GWOC as a whole, man. After you talk about them two, I think Fairmont is tied. Fairmont's in second place, tied in second place, 3-1 with Wayne.
Yeah.
But after those three teams, GWOC pretty much.
It's bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, well, and just kind of looking at, Springfield, they come out the gates versus Winton Woods. I believe Winton Woods has an Alabama commit and maybe a couple other studs. So you're talking about a team that
Game they should have won. Honestly, I
game
think
they should have won.
blew it at the end. I don't think
Yeah,
it was. They had a. I think they were in the red zone and just didn't score or turned it
yeah.
over. So
And this is
they
very
actually
early.
the game.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is very early Springfield. If you follow the GWalk, you've seen Springfield either they come out just blazing, or they're just unanimously number one. Especially those years they had those great quarterbacks, Smoot and I believe Schondelmeyer. But then they also are the type of team that maybe starts slow, and once they hit their stride, you mentioned Chris Wallace as the OC, you mentioned Smoot as the DC, but then you got a head coach that, he's got a championship pedigree. Everywhere he goes, they end up in the state or they win the state. So if you give these guys time with the athletes that Springfield produces over and over again each year, they start off Winton Woods, should have won that game, but they lost to a good team. Then they play Walsh Jesuit, who is a Division II powerhouse. It doesn't matter what division. You can put them D1, doesn't matter. They're going to be dominant anywhere they go. And then you go to Trotwood, who is a very yeah. And Trotwood's interesting because I've seen Trotwood now twice. And they are very similar to Wayne, but I think they got a rougher defense. But you got speed and athleticism everywhere. So they lost another game that they should have won. Now, I think you have to give the people a little bit of context. You got a quarterback in Wallace, who is the offensive coordinator's son, who is really a basketball guy. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't play football. He hasn't played football since middle school.
Yep. That's right. I think this is probably his first year out. The last two, I know, he came up playing football and basketball, but I want to say he hasn't played football maybe 2-3 years.
Right. So you're talking about that's a huge deal.
Years.
Yeah, that's a huge deal, bro. You're talking about quarterback. You're not talking about, a D lineman or a running back, and you just have to be athletic. You have to be able to read the defenses. You have to be able to understand the plays, understand the offense, understand all your players, where they need to be at. So they're bringing, even though you played in middle school, they're bringing very much so a fresh, inexperienced quarterback at the high school level. So you're taking this time to gel where you go 0-3 in the beginning of the season. Because I remember around that time, I think they were 0-3. Centerville's 0-3 at that time. Fairmont's 0-3. And then we know what Beaver Creek is going to do, Northmont. And the GWalks is looking like a disaster at this point. And then all of a sudden they get to Miamisburg, which we knew they were going to win 37-0. Go to Centerville the following week, 35-0. Then they go to Springboro, which they had a tough game. They only won 14-7. Mm-hmm. Springboro is weird to me. They're like good, but like sometimes they're not. But they're actually a decent team. And they didn't get crushed by Elder. Elder, that's the first time we went and saw Elder when Elder went over to Springboro, actually had a decent game. So you cannot sleep on Springboro. They got some talent over there. But they beat them, and then to come and go to Wayne and smash them that way. Can you imagine the feeling and the momentum and how good they think they are with that state background, that championship pedigree, how they're feeling right now? They probably feel like they can play and beat anybody. And I would probably believe them.
Definitely feel like they should go on another run. And again, like you said, got to give props to Coach Douglas. My fault, but yeah, Coach Douglas and that coaching staff over at Springfield, man, the
Yes,
last
sir.
6 to 7 years, they just got like Springfield's a powerhouse when it comes to football now. And they got I feel they got the wheels rolling again, and they could make another deep run in the playoffs. They keep playing like this. There really ain't too many teams now I see getting in their way until they get up to
the Final Four. Yeah. Yeah, and the Final Four. So if I'm not mistaken, who's in their league? You got your Middletowns. Who else is in that
region?
path? You have what? Dublin, Jerome, or Kaufman may come down, or Hilliard might be in there. That region, they got some competition, but I think they're going to do it again. You know what I mean? I think
it wouldn't be far fetched to having Springfield making a late run. I don't really see why they wouldn't be able to at this point.
And then look at their last 3 games. Beaver Creek, that's a dub. No disrespect to Beaver Creek, but that's a dub. Fairmont is interesting, man. I don't know what it is about Springfield versus Fairmont, but if I'm not mistaken, over the last 2 or 3 years, they might be even in matchups. I don't know why. I don't know how. Fairmont always gives Springfield trouble.
That gameplay is just you have to stay disciplined or they're gonna smack you in the mouth. I wanna say one of them years they beat Springfield on a last second did Springfield drop a last second touchdown or something? But they get into that boring game, they run that wishbone, and I'm sorry, but I'm tired of hearing Doty's name. I'm like, it feel like he one of them cats that just been in school forever, but that's all you hear is Logan Doty, and it's just you know what's coming,
right?
Just got to stop it, and every once in a while they might. What game was it where they passed it last year? We went to one game and they like passed it and it was just like, man, they was like trying to bust out all the stops to win this game. And it was
might have been Wayne. It might have been Wayne.
I wasn't mad at them for it because it's like, man, you know what's coming when you play Fairmont. So it's either you're going to be disciplined and follow the game plan, or you're going to be undisciplined and they're going to make you pay.
Because they coming, bro. And you're right, man. What's funny about the situation with Fairmont and Logan Doty's only a junior. And he's averaging 134 yards a game, 5.5 yards a carry. He's got 6 tugs, 1 fumble, which is interesting because I think that's probably one of his best attributes is that he's a tough runner. He's not really going to give you very much, but he doesn't fumble and he's always falling forward. And as you would suspect, he's leading the GWOC with 943 yards. So that means he's guaranteed to pass the 1,000-yard mark next week for sure. And probably
have down every 3 touches for him.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to say 2.
Yeah. He's that's that style of play that they got going on. I think you hit the nail on the head. If you don't come in there and you're disciplined and you're ready to play. And you got to think about the mental aspect of playing that team. How do you feel as a defense sitting on the sideline watching them chew up the clock like that, right? How do you feel? I mean, it probably has a lot of mental effects on you when you play a team like that you know what they're going to do and they're just going to run the ball and waste the clock and try to beat you 14-0 if they can. You know what I mean? It
That's all
has
they
to.
need.
Yeah, you as a coach, you have to be like, hey, I need y'all to stay into it. I need y'all to stay poised. I need y'all to stay ready. When I said defense, I meant the offense. I meant as you're the offense, watching your defense get smashed and then take all that time, and then you got to hit the field, and you know you got to score if they up, because if not, it's just you're just playing right into their game plan.
No,
So
right.
yeah, and just like I said, for whatever reason, they give Springfield problems. Now I will say this: historically in the playoffs, it's a wrap. They always beat Fairmont. Even when Fairmont beats them in the regular season, when it comes to playoff time and Springfield's making that run, it's over. So yeah, I think they got Fairmont, they got Fairmont, Northmont, and Beaver Creek. They should win all three of those games. Fairmont is always going to be Fairmont. They give Springfield trouble, but Springfield should run right through these guys. You know what I mean?
I feel
I would be highly shocked if they lose, but at the same time, maybe not. Let's cover a little bit all across Ohio a little bit. Like I know we've been following a little bit freshman quarterback Nate Miller. I believe he's at Westerville Central.
Mm-hmm.
He's at Westerville Central, and if I'm not mistaken, this is a freshman quarterback who's starting.
Right. Yeah.
And I think you may have seen him play one game, or you've been keeping your finger to the pulse of this guy. What's the upside of this kid? Because I've been seeing this guy since he was in middle school. His content has been floating around Instagram in the Ohio football sports arena for about 2 or 3 years, and now he's a freshman starting on the varsity level. What do you know about this kid? You know, what's been your take so far of him? You know, how bright is this guy's future?
Sky's the limit. Yeah, sky's the limit. Just a lot of growing pains. They actually they only won one game last year. They at 3 wins this year. So
Wow.
that's a
Yeah.
plus. Second year coach. A lot of freshmen and sophomores out there. I want to say I think they played Grove City this past Friday in a hard fought. They ended up winning. I want to say he might have threw for 1 or 2 touchdowns, but I mean, as long as he just stay focused and put the work in, like I said, the sky's the limit. I mean, I feel like they probably might just have a group that just got to gel together, and by
Right.
junior year they might be, a force to
Tough.
be reckoned with in Ohio, especially Central Ohio.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
Well,
the
and I
game
think
they played Westerville North and they got
Mhm.
shut out. But first game of the year, jitters. They just
Sure.
they didn't really have a lot going on.
Mhm.
Now looking at the slate for this week, that might be a area we might have to hit because I'm not seeing a lot of stuff interesting around GWOC, and I ain't
It's
seeing
not. Yeah.
nothing.
Yep. I know. I mean, I
Might be
think it might be
side
time.
Central Ohio to
It
check
might be
out somebody.
Central. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. And I'm down. You know what I mean? As I looked at the docket this week, it's kind of light. I think we've seen everything Cincinnati has to offer at the highest level at this point. I think we've seen the highest level of GWalk. I think it might be time for us to hit Central Ohio, especially if they can get one of those Cleveland teams down here to play and see if we can catch one of those guys and see who's really who. I think what's interesting about Nate Miller as a freshman is he's on a team that's really not that good. You said they didn't win a game last year.
Just one game.
They won one game last year, and they already have won 3 games this year, correct?
Yeah.
Now, as a freshman quarterback, what does he bring to the table? Is he more of a runner? Is he more of a thrower? Is it kind of a combination? What's kind of the scoop on his abilities?
I feel like he more so pocket presence. If he got some time back there, he gonna be able to make something happen. I feel like he probably only uses feet when needed. Like he ain't about to sit back
Mm,
there and take off.
yeah.
But yeah, pocket presence. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he gets some time. he gonna make it happen. He got a nice ball on him, and again, he's only I want to say 14, 15, freshman, so he got a lot of time to develop. Probably might get bigger. Definitely gonna get stronger.
For sure.
So
Yes.
at this point, it's just waiting. Just waiting. You know what I'm saying? Ceiling high. Got a lot of hype around him. Another freshman in the Central Ohio area that we talked about. Picked Central running back.
Oh
Don't know
God.
his name at this time, but
Yeah.
stud. So as far as
Yes.
Central Ohio, them the two names that you hear the most. Nate at quarterback, and we got to get his name.
No, I'm pulling it up right now
Running
because he's
back
supposed
for
to be. Is it
Pick
Edmund McAllister?
Edmund. Yep, McAllister. So he's a stud. I'll be seeing him all over 270 gridiron. And I want to say Pick Central is decent too. They're always decent. So yeah, them two is out of Central Ohio is a lot of them.
Cooking
I
man.
hear a lot of buzz around them as freshmen.
They're buzzing already, and this guy is. They're saying he's probably the best freshman running back in all of Ohio. He's got a 4.0 GPA, which is super impressive. And they're saying this guy's running a 4.540 already.
Oh, he going to
Like,
school. He going to school
oh,
regardless. So
he's gonna play on Saturday, big Saturday, not little
mm,
Saturday. Um, yeah,
might
man,
stay
future.
state too as well. So
You said what?
I mean, got a good chance of staying in state as well too. I ain't a big old state
Well,
fan. They do a lot
no
of.
doubt.
They got a nice pipeline. Pick
Yeah,
Central to O State. I want to say they got a few cats on their roster now that went to
they
Pick
do.
Central. They the
Yeah,
staff.
no.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't
I
big
think the
on.
brothers. Yeah, no. So yeah, man, he's got 700 yards rushing, 83 carries, 13 touchdowns. He's averaging 8.5 yards per carry.
That's a first down every time he touches the ball.
That's
Damn near.
very scary, bro, as a freshman. And not to take anything away from Lil Nate. Lil Nate went to he didn't go to Pick Central. you know
He
what I'm
went
saying?
to somebody that really don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna have to make a name for that high school. Now, I'm not saying there probably ain't players that came before him that might have
Right.
been big time, but from the sounds of it, I don't think they've been good for a while.
Yeah.
Talking to some of the fans at the stands at the game I went to, they didn't really give me a lot of like. They have a lot to look forward to, so it's kind of
Mhm.
like this is probably the class to do it. This freshman class there
They're gonna
are
put
the
the
class
boys on
that's
the
going
map.
to turn it around. So
Yeah, they're gonna put them boys on the map. Yeah, I see that the McAllister guy, he was at Ohio State just recently. Um, I think this might have been in the off season. Matter of fact, it was more in the March area, but he was at Ohio State, man. So if he was there in March, that means he was there as an eighth grader. So they've got serious tabs to this guy, and he did not disappoint so far this year. Um, who do you, as far as all the football that you've watched this year, we can kind of close with this. Maybe name two or three players that you were very impressed by and that you think may have a bright future on Saturday at the next level.
I don't know how big his recruiting is, but I definitely feel like with Elder's quarterback,
Yeah.
having another year, each step probably could do some damage on Saturdays. I definitely
Yeah.
like. We didn't get to talk about him, but number 19 from Moeller, I'm not sure of his name. Explosive cat.
Mm-hmm.
I think Elder went the whole game without trying to kick him the ball, but he ended up catching a nice little post for a touchdown
Reggie
right before
Watson.
half.
Yeah. Yep. He's 5'6", by the way.
Watson.
Yeah, Reggie
Yeah,
Watson. I
he's
think it's
second. Yeah, he's second in receiving in GCL. He's tough. I like him. I feel like he could go. He probably could play on
yeah.
Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Moeller's quarterback. What's his last name?
Ponatowski.
Ponatowski. Of course, him.
Mm-hmm.
Royce Rogers. Of
For
course.
sure.
Um, and I hear a lot of good things about Jameer Daniels. I hear a lot of good things. I heard he
Right.
probably going to be the next big stud to come out of Springfield. I mean,
Yep.
I say stud. I mean, kind of like,
Yeah, you're
uh,
not using it
like,
loosely.
like,
You're talking about
like
4 or 5 star level.
so them is my guys right now as far as like
Yep.
juniors, seniors that I feel like probably make a big impact at the next level.
I agree with that, man. I mean, my list will probably be similar. I got the East Step just because he's just been so impressive this year, man. I just really like what he has going on, and the fact that he's only a junior, to see what he does next year. I think, and you got to think, man, we've been watching this football for quite some time, and quarterbacks are hard to find. There's tons of running backs, tons of receivers, tons of linemen, man. It is so hard to find a solid quarterback. So when you see quarterback play on that level, you just know he's going to play good at the next level. I got to piggyback on your point with Jameer Daniels, explosive, hard-hitting linebacker that's got a nose for the ball because he's starting to get a lot of interceptions. I got to throw in Ponatowski. Even though he's going to be a baseball guy, he's still a freaking stud. Jameer Daniels, obviously, man, he's a speed demon. You know, unfortunately, at the wide receiver position, man, you're only as good as your
Brown,
quarterback.
Jameer Brown.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I call him? Daniels?
Yeah,
Yeah, what was that, the
yeah.
Redskins quarterback?
I feel like just I don't know how he would get used at Ohio State. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like even in high school they probably could throw him. I don't know like how he's getting used. I know he's on punt return, kick return, but as
Yeah,
far as like I don't know if they got him on the outside all game. I don't know if they're putting him in the slot sometimes. I don't know if they're running reverses for him, but I feel like he's one of those players that you could put anywhere on the field, and as
yeah,
long as he touched the ball, you get him his looks,
yeah.
he's one play away.
The way you just described it, in my opinion, is the way they're probably going to use him at the next level. You're talking about a nationally ranked sprinter, right? I think his peak was about a 10.3 last year. I
Mm-hmm.
think he also broke a record for the 200 meter. And I mean, you're talking about world class speed. So everything that you just said, kick return, punt return, main receiver, slot, I think he's going to pretty much do it all. Now, at the next level is different. Obviously, you got number 5 star guys out there. I mean, that's wide receiver you at Ohio State. So let's see what this guy does once he hits the field. But I just think it's really hard to deny that pure speed.
For
It's
sure.
just hard to not be able to see him producing at the next level, especially when you got good quarterback play and other receivers who are fire that allow you to get one-on-one matchups and get open. But yeah, Royce Rogers will be another one. I mean, I've been hot on him for a while, man. The problem with Royce, and it's not really a problem, it's just, you know what it is. If you're 6 foot and you know what I mean, it's just tough. If he was 6'2", 6'3", he'd probably be a 4 or 5 star guy. I
For
mean,
sure.
and he's an all-state wrestler. I mean, this kid's just a stud. But yeah, man, there's been some very impressive guys that we've seen. Obviously, I like a lot of guys on St. X's defense. There's countless 4 or
Oh
5
yeah, Saint X
players.
definitely got a few studs.
Oh
Even the
man, they got
tight end for Moeller. I mean,
yeah, he's a stud. Oh, you got to throw in because you didn't get to see this guy. It's Lakota East, I believe, has a
running back.
tight end. They got
We've
a
been talking
running
about
back.
him all year, man.
He's a monster, man. But the tight end, if I'm not mistaken, is going to SEC. He's a beast as well. I can't remember this guy's name, man. But he was a stud, man. He's like 6'6", monster. So there's just been so many kids. I mean, Ohio football is always well represented. But I think we named the who's who, that we always get to see and that we believe is going to be at that next level. So next week, man, we got to figure out where we're going, man. I think you might have called it, man. For some
Yeah,
reason, I
probably
think.
somewhere in Columbus. I don't really see
Yeah.
nothing around our area that's worth watching. You know what I'm saying?
No
So
disrespect, guys, but we've seen it. We've seen you guys already, so we gotta expand over into Central Ohio. If Cleveland wasn't such a haul, we would go to Cleveland, but we'll have to wait for those
yeah,
guys to
I want
come
to say I
down here.
think Moeller or Ed, one of them play.
St. Ed's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Moeller's going to St. Ed's this year,
Yeah.
though.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause St. Ed's came last year, and we missed it. I can't remember what was going on. We just had a crazy schedule, couldn't get to it.
Be an interesting game though.
Well, I think St. Ed's is always your measuring stick. Moeller's a measuring stick as well. You know what I'm saying? But the fact
That's
that both
tough.
of them are going,
Yeah, that is tough.
that's tough,
St.
man.
Ed being the peak, like it's kind of tough because one, they can recruit, and what last year they probably wasn't that good, but like how many years of them they ain't gonna be that good? Like,
See, this is the thing, though, man. That's the thing, Smiz. Like when you say last year they wasn't that good, they lost to Moeller barely. They lost to Liberty, who won a state barely. And this is a down year for St. Ed's. You know what I'm saying?
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, that's scary. So, like I said, I think the rite of passage is through a Moeller or a St. Ed's. And we saw what Moeller has to bring to the table. St. Ed's, I believe it or not, they beat Wayne by like 30. Now, think about this for a second, because we didn't see that game. We didn't see that game. We didn't see what they brought, but Wayne scored 14 points against Springfield. They scored like 30 against St. Edwards. Now, we don't know the details. We don't know if St. Edwards took all their starters out and put the reserves in. We don't know. But all we do know is that Wayne only scored 14. So I'm just very interested. Now, one thing that Springfield pointed out, I know we're bouncing around real crazy and all that. I know Springfield pointed out that they are kind of light in the trenches a little bit on offense. The offensive line's a little light, or they're inexperienced. One of the two are happening. You cannot do that against any of those powerhouses. They have absolute monsters on that line. Moeller has, bro, you've seen it. I was like, man, you know what I mean? Like, sheesh, and St. Edwards is going to be the same way. That will be the difference, but that just tells you the type of talent and eliteness Springfield really brings to the table. So anyway, we'll go ahead and close it out, man. Fourth quarter podcast. We're going to be in Central Ohio this week, and hopefully it's going to be another banger, man. Smiz, any final thoughts, man, before we exit?
No, sir, man. Just hoping to get ready for this playoff run, man. Seeing some good playoff. I think they changed the criteria so everybody don't make it this year. So
okay.
Matter of fact, I want to say, yeah. I don't think everybody makes it this year, so should be interesting.
Well, Springfield cannot lose for the rest of the season if they want to be locked in. They cannot, because what will end up happening is they'll tie with Fairmont. If Fairmont happens to pull out any type of victory, which they'll still make the playoffs. But in my opinion, man, Springfield shouldn't lose. They've lost enough this year, and I'm obviously a biased Springfield fan and hoping that they make another run. So
no, for sure, definitely good for the city, man, and the kids, man. Get them kids a lot of hope.
Need that.
Seeing it, a lot of them kids are the seniors. They've got a taste of going to state. They know what it feels like for the city to be shut down and driving down Limestone with all the fans. Like they lived that. So I know them kids is hungry to get back there, and that's kind of what they showing right now.
Yeah, and some of those kids weren't at Springfield when they went to the state. They were middle schoolers in the lower Springfield programs. That level of pedigree and what they're used to is become a culture. So that's beautiful to see.
Coaching staff again, man. Mo Doug, and you just getting those kids and making them believe they could win. We just got to get over that.
That's a great point. Making them believe they can win. That's a fact, bro.
Get one.
Yes, sir, man. All right, man. Fourth quarter podcast, baby.
Yes, sir.
See y'all next time. Yes, sir.